kind of random.
What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Hip Hop Now Podcast Reviews. Like the podcast, subscribe, comment, do if you will. Visit the Patreon, patreon.com/hip hop now. Let's get right into it. Well, here we are. The time is now. We have a brand new Nas album. Nas's 12th studio album, King's Disease. Obviously, that's not counting lost tapes and stuff like that. Prior to the release of this album in 2020, his last, and I'm putting up air quotes, album would be the Kanye West produced garbage, Nasir. And just to recap real quick, the issue is, as far as my opinion, with the Nasir album was the fact that, it sound off. Not many of the beats were great, and there wasn't that many beats to begin with because it wasn't that many songs. It was more like an EP. I think it was 7. And Nas's flow sound different on those tracks. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't mixed right, or he didn't really know how to approach those specific beats, so it sound off. It just was not the Nas and Kanye West collaboration I had dreamt of years before, when I remember, Kanye saying he wanted to do an album with it. So that was that. Most people were like, this wasn't great. Then we knew we were getting the lost tapes too. So obviously we were all hyped. The lost tapes volume 1 basically is considered to many to be a classic, and it's not an album. It's basically a couple of songs that didn't make previous albums, but it's dope. A lot of those songs are dope. But Lost Tapes 2 comes out and doesn't really scratch that Nas itch for most Nas fans. So now here we have King's Disease, produced entirely by Hit Boy, which scared the hell out of a lot of boom bap, Illmatic is my savior fans going into it. Now, if you listen to my podcast, I've said it in the past, right? I always feel like if someone says they always wanted, a producer says they always wanted to work with Nas, I assume they have a stash. And Hit Boy's production, to me, would have suggested that he had a stash that he felt Nas will work great with this sound. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of was optimistic anyway to begin with. So the album is about 13 tracks. It is 13 tracks. Features on here include Charlie Wilson, Hit Boy, of course, Big Sean and Don Toliver, Lil Durk, Anderson .Paak, Brucey B, and The Firm, as well as a bonus track featuring Fabio Foreign and A$AP Ferg. And I'm just here to tell you, I ain't gonna hold you, right? I listened, I gave it the good listen. I had my first impressions listen. I had the, okay, let me see if I heard that right listen. Then I had another one where I was like, smoking, drinking, grilling, And then I listened one more time before I did this podcast. And I'm here to say to you, it's good. I'm not going as far as classic or greatest of all time or better thans, because I know y'all like to do the better thans. That's kind of how y'all qualify music, which is the stupidest thing in the world. Obviously, you make the observation that something is better than, but you kind of rate it on its own merits for what it is, what King's Disease is, not comparative to Nasir, because we know there's just a lot of things with that album that didn't work. But this album is good. And off the top, I'm going to say it's so good that my top 5 of the year so far, which I'm on record for saying that they were interchangeable, put it this way. The top 5 of the year that I have, any one of those joints can be bumped at this point by another album if I feel this new album is better. And we got a long way to go. But I feel strong enough to say that King's Disease is in my top 5 of 2020. Yeah, it is. Now, what it bumped, I'm not really going to tell you that because we're just going to wait to, the year-end special where we reveal. And we'll see if King's Disease is still in my top 5. But I think it's a very dope album. Why? For these reasons, right? When Life is Good came out and I first heard it, I said to myself, listening to that album, this is where Nas should be in his career as an MC. There should be a little bit of Illmatic. There should be a little bit of Esco. There should be a little bit of Firm. There should be a little bit of Nas Today. And there should be a hint of what's happening now, if he could do it. And I felt like Life is Good was that. And I think that's what made it a good album to a lot of people. Because it was Nas the way you should hear him today. His journey. Now, there are a lot of fans who like to ignore his journey. They think Illmatic is like where it begins and ends. When, where were you when It Was Written came out? That was already different Nas. So if you don't like anything other than Illmatic, then you haven't liked Nas since in years, like what, 95? No, 96 when It Was Written came out. You haven't liked Nas since It Was Written. Some will say, well, yeah, I like that Nas, but he's constantly changed and upgraded his formula. So let's talk about this album in general, right? A couple of my favorite songs is Blue Benz. I like the intro track, King's Disease, because of how it sets up what King's Disease is and the whole idea behind it, which is dope. I'll leave that to those who haven't heard because I think stuff like that is better revealed through the artists and their lyrics. Car 85 is dope with Charlie Wilson. The more I hear Ultra Black, the more I like it. I love it. 27 Summers is probably one of my favorites. Replace Me with Big Sean and Don Toliver. I like it, but something feels unnatural about it. Not necessarily the track or their verses or even the hook. I think some things work. I think it works in general, but I think it would have been stronger if you take Big Sean out and you add Kendrick Lamar. I know I'm a fan of Kendrick. It sounds a certain way, but I like Big Sean's verse, but it just felt, I don't know, it felt disconnected. Even when you hear them at the end, like, yo, Sean, I got my New York walk, and like, yo, I got my Detroit soul. Like, I don't know, it just didn't work for me. But as a record, I don't skip it. Maybe I will in the future, but it's fine. It's only 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Till the War is one with Lil Durk. Now, that was one that kind of scared me because I was like, I don't know what that's going to sound like. But it honestly came out better than I thought, so I don't mind that record. All Bad with Anderson .Paak. I love that joint the more I hear it. The Definition with Brucey B is dope. The Firm, Full Circle, right? This is featuring the Firm, the original Firm. Nas, AZ, Cormega, and Foxy Brown. But when it was listed, it just said it was them. But at the end, I want to say that's Nature rhyming at the very end. Like maybe he was added at the very end. I don't know. Somebody needs to confirm that. But to me, it kind of sounds like Nature rhyming at the end of that joint. 10 Points is dope. It's cool. Same thing with The Cure. I like the lyrics. Spicy is it. Like, and it was the one besides the Lil Durk joint that I was a little bit afraid of. Not because of ASAP Ferg. I told people before I heard ASAP Ferg rhyme regular like he's from NY before, and he don't sound bad at all. Fabio Foreign I was afraid of because I felt like his style of music and his style of rapping might be too different, but it works because the beat works. How Nas's flowing works, how Fabio Foreign's flowing works. ASAP Ferg giving you that, that New York flow instead of that, I'm from New York, but I'm around like I'm from down south flow. It just works. Now, what I like the most about this album is I think Hit Boy did an excellent job of figuring out what works best with Nas today. The sound he should use, the switching up of certain beats, the beats that feel familiar as far as like records that Nas has made in the past, thematically, not necessarily just copies of beats, but feeling like hip hop. And then even some of these records that you can consider the more radio friendly records, they work. They work. I was real scared of Nas being over a beat like 27 Summers, but the minute it starts, I love it. And I think, it's a testament to probably Hit Boy as a producer, because when you think about when Nas, I think the first time I heard Nas over a trap beat, I think it was with Future. And I was not feeling that because I felt like his flow just did not match that beat, or he didn't know how to flow to it, or I didn't know what the case was. It didn't work. 27 Summers is how Nas is supposed to sound over those beats. That's exactly how he should sound. Don't flutter with a bunch of words, just stunt and say what you say. And I think that's why Spicy works also. It's just dope. And I think Hit Boy did an excellent job with this album. I think Nas did an excellent job with this album. I mean, the one takeaway from one of the lines that I got that I think a lot of fans need to understand is, meet me where I'm at. Just like he said, they thought I'd make another Illmatic, but it's only forward I'm moving, never backward, stupid. Here's another classic. I mean, at the end of the day, if you love Nas, whether you love Nas from back in the days or now, the thing is you don't have to like the new material. You don't. And your expectations shouldn't be anything remotely before the 2000s. It just shouldn't. Life is Good Nas is the Nas you have. That's the Nas that's featured on this album. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of his flow is a little bit different. Sometimes he goes to that old flow. His flow is a little bit different, but when you have production like this that comes together, that works with his sound, and they work with his flow to adjust to it, you know what I'm saying? Then it's different. It's better. It's not, and I'm not saying it's better than Illmatic, but it's better than what it was with the Nasir project, where I don't know what they were doing. It was rushed, if you ask me. It was something where it didn't come out as strong as it should have, considering Kanye West was the producer, because we saw what he did with Pusha T, which, you know what I'm saying, Daytona had came out, a week before or 2 weeks before, something like that. So, to summarize all of that, Nas' 12th studio album, King's Disease. If you are a longtime Nas fan and you've been buying the albums, all of them, distant relatives, everything, from day one, from Illmatic until now, this is definitely an album you should pick up, because it is great for what it is. It's great. I even like the fact that the songs are short. So the album is short, but not so short that it's over before you know it. I think it's perfect. It's just as much as we need. We don't need 50 songs. We don't need 20 songs. 13 is fine. Even if there was 14, it'd be cool. I think if you're a Nas fan and you're looking for Illmatic, It Was Written, Godson, Stillmatic, the Firm album, if you're looking for any of those, you might be disappointed at some of the tracks that kind of sway towards the newer sound. I'm just being honest, you probably won't like it. But overall, for me, personally, this does make my top 5 of the year so far. Doesn't mean it will stay there, but I'm satisfied with this album. I like this album. I've been listening to it and I will continue to listen to it, you know what I'm saying, until, maybe I get tired or whatever. Who knows? But that's going to do it for me. Hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, leave your review of this podcast in the comment section below. And also let me know what you think about this Nas album, man. Are you heated? Do you love it? Do you feel like it's okay or you're past? Whatever your opinions are, leave your comments in the comment section below. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at VegasWorldINC. Support the Patreon account at patreon.com/hiphopnow. And please don't forget, I am not a critic. I'm a fan. Peace.
Drop it on the random.